Well, hello and welcome to Living in Reno. It is Dave, and normally I'm joined by my lovely wife, but she couldn't make it today. But Amanda's here. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
How the heck are
I'm
you?
actually Dave's work wife.
Yeah, you're my former work wife. We'll get into that, but hang on. We got to play this first. Normally, it's us, my wife and I, who I worked with at Colo TV here in Reno years ago, but you were my actual work wife.
Actually, I was.
Oh,
And
boy.
still kind of am.
Yes, we still talk all the time. And Amanda, you don't know that I'm doing this, but we're going to talk about the weather, by the way, here. We're going to talk about the truth about the weather living in Reno, Nevada. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, I have to surprise you a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to see if I can.
Uh-oh. How cute.
The year of the goat apparently means that you're amicable, you're gentle-mannered, you might be a little shy, but you are a kind person. So immediately we knew Dave was not born in the
Yeah, you've already used that joke. So funny. You're a thrifty gal.
I love the thrifting and the garage sales.
Yes, you do.
My husband's lucky. Yeah,
Well,
I don't spend a whole lot.
I wouldn't. I mean, that's a big jump we just took to say suddenly he's
Why
lucky.
did I do that? Opening up a can of worms. I know better.
A little angry at Lindsay today.
Why?
She's calling me a manatee after she learned that they're basically sea cows and do nothing but
I know.
float and eat.
They are.
Look at her. She knows she's doing it.
They eat and float and sleep. That sounds like our kind of world, doesn't
So
it?
she's calling
Yeah.
me a manatee now.
Like, you guys have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, it's like,
Amanda and I don't care. We don't
it's
care about
so
the royals.
obnoxious and it's constant. Yesterday, I had to walk out of the room.
Yeah, initiate the plan.
There you go. That's the craziness that ensued. Some of it, anyway. How long was that? How many years?
That was 7 or 8 years ago. So
Yeah.
that was probably 2014
Yeah.
or 2014 or
Well,
maybe even 20. I think I left the station in 2016. And as you can see, everyone out there, I did the weather. So I was a broadcast meteorologist for almost 20 years.
Oh, that was Lindsay doing the weather. You did news, but you did weather
I
also.
did weather before that, yes.
Yes. And
That was
let's
my
talk.
first passion in TV.
That is
So
wild
thank
to me because you and I started together as news people, and then I found out later you did. I'm like, you did weather, and you were
Yes.
in Vegas, right, for a while.
In Vegas and Reno. So
That is wild.
for a long time, I was only the only female weathercaster in Reno for many, many years.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, the weather in Reno, that's why we wanted to talk to you, because when I moved here, I thought, oh, okay, it'll be sunny and hot. But it's more than that. It gets friggin' cold.
It does in the wintertime. But the nice thing about Reno, I think, living here, if somebody said, they were thinking about relocating to Reno, one thing you get here is 4 seasons. That's very predictable. But a fun fact about Nevada weather is that Nevada is actually the driest state in the entire nation. So it is not Arizona. It is not New Mexico. It is Nevada. We average about 7 inches of rain a year, most of it falling here in northern Nevada. So we all think of, when you think of Nevada, people think of Las Vegas, but actually 400 miles north is Reno, and we are a very mountainous region. We're the high desert. So we receive most of that rain. But yes, we are the driest state in the nation.
Well, and not only rain, but also the S word. Snow.
Yes, snow. And that's not one that I like, but if you are outdoorsy and like to ski, then you are about 30 minutes away from world-class ski resorts that are absolutely beautiful.
It is cool how close all that stuff is. And I will say about the snow, would you agree with this, that if you are okay, let's say you're a snow hater, no problem. But let's say you're a snow lover. Yeah. And let's say you're a snow lover. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like, it's okay. As long as I don't have to go anywhere, it's fine. But you can actually pick where you live and drastically affect how much you'll be affected by snow.
Great question, or great statement. Great question. I live at 5,500 feet. Dave, you're probably 5,000.
Yep.
We always get more snow up here. So it's like when the snow hits, we could get a foot of snow, even more. And then down on the valley floor where it's 4,700 feet, they're just getting a few inches. It is drastically different.
Yeah, it is wild. One thing that people, then what I always say about Reno weather is it's 4 seasons, but it is, none of them are usually extreme. Coming from Kansas City, where I grew up, it is gross hot in the summer, humid, disgusting. And then in the winter, it's just like freezing rain and it's just hell on earth. And here,
Ice storms.
yeah, it's terrible. I remember having, I think it was 8 days without power during one ice storm. It was just ridiculous. But here you get the seasons, but most of the time they're pretty nice
Pretty mild.
and not extreme. We have had them. But let's talk about the wind. What would you tell people that would potentially move here about the wind here?
So similar, well, flying into Reno is never fun. So if you've ever flown into Denver, it's a very similar death ride experience usually. So I would always recommend morning flights, early morning flights, or late night flights, because usually the afternoon winds can be pretty significant, especially in the summer and the winter. But Dave, you bring up a good point. I mean, the wind at this elevation, where we are at 5,000 feet and above, is much. If it's 25 miles an hour here, down on the valley floor, people will say, "What are you talking about? There's no wind down on the valley floor." But so it depends on if you're living in the higher elevations around Reno. So even, Galena area higher, Arrow Creek higher. And where Dave and I live, we live on the west side of Reno in the foothills. So the wind is definitely can be an issue. But if you're on the valley floor, definitely more mild.
Yeah, and it is wild how it can honestly be street to street when it comes to wind, and how much on a windy day it's going to be windy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like our house is very protected from the wind because where we live comes over the mountain, and we're kind of on the down slope of the mountain, so we don't get as much. We still get it, but we don't get a ton.
Get as much, yeah.
Anything else about the weather anybody potentially moving to Reno should know?
I think they should know that generally, even though we have the 4 seasons, that generally our winters are pretty sunny and pretty mild. So we may get 2 major snowstorms. Again, you won't be as affected by that if you're living on the lower elevations of valley floor. But generally, the winter here is pretty mild. It really is.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, like I said, Kansas City was just gross because you get snow, ice storms,
Humidity.
It's just I don't miss that at all. Well, thank you, Amanda. Before we go, I have the Northern Nevada Guide, and there's information scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I actually just had somebody the other day from Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta, they asked for a copy because they want to do an investment property in the next few years. So this is the relocation guide that kind of gives you all of the stuff. I can certainly send it to you. And if you want, just let me know. You can message me, and there you go. Oh, here's my email address.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Amanda, my work wife.
Thank you.
I actually watched a clip of you. I was talking about having to leave on a flight, and I said, I'm a little worried because the wind, and you said the exact same thing. You're like, oh, death ride. I'm like, oh, thanks a lot.
Nobody wants to sit next to me on an airplane because when it's windy and bumpy, I'm clinching onto them and I don't care who they are.
Or an anchor desk.
Yeah,
you never know what you're going to get. Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks, Dave.
See you later.
Bye.